Hi guys, it's Fraser Schauner here. And today I have something I'm so excited that I got. If you follow me on Instagram, then you know I have this, and I'm so excited to show you guys. Here I have a pneumatic cylinder system. So let me just go ahead and show you guys kind of what it does. So I have the air going in, and so I'm going to be teaching you guys in this tutorial how to control this, how to hook it up, control it, and control it with an Arduino with motion sensor. So let's go. Okay guys, so here we're going to start off by what you will be needing to just run your piston just to work, just with a button or something like that. So first, of course, you're going to need your cylinder itself. This is Parker, which I would say is a pretty good company. They make really high quality cylinders, really cheap too. You can get on Amazon, and all the things I will have linked down below to the Amazon so you can buy it yourself. You're gonna need to get some tubing, a solenoid. So you guys are gonna need tubing, solenoid, some of these connectors like this that have hose to 1/8, because this is a 1/8 here. So you're going to want to have some way of connecting this middle port to the solenoid, which I will explain later. Optional are some exhaust ports for it, and I'll tell you what those are. And then last but not least, an air compressor and air compressor hose. And so let's just get started. Okay guys, so here's the solenoid, and here's how these work. So the solenoids have, one side has 3 ports and one side has 2 ports. So here's how it works. Air will go in through your middle port on the right side, and then these 2 back ports right here and here are your exhaust. So air will exhaust out of that. So we're going to put these just exhaust mufflers right on there, just like this, and that'll just make it so it's not as loud. Now you're still going to get that awesome haunted prop sound, and I'm not going to be putting Teflon tape on these exhaust fittings, because they don't have to be 100% airtight, because all this is just like a little sponge on the end, a little metal sponge on the end that just kind of muffles the air, and instead of just going straight out of the hole, it kind of puts it into the sponge first. But the way I'm going to connect my compressor to the solenoid, I don't want my air going straight into the solenoid at all times, so I'm going to use this little thing right here, this just blower, and I'm just going to add a zip tie around it so I can just zip tie it closed when I'm ready to use it. So next, what you're going to want to get is something. So these are 1/8 threads. All these are 1/8 threads. So we're going to want to put this on here. So air goes in through, like I said, air goes in through the middle. So you're going to want to put your air source going through the middle. So, but before we do that, you do want to Teflon things, because this does need to be very airtight, and Teflon tape just like tightens threads. So now I've put Teflon on here, and so we can go ahead and just screw this on there, and so Teflon just makes it airtight. So, and we'll tighten everything with wrenches afterwards, so it's super, we want it to be completely airtight. We don't want any air leaking during the haunt, you know. So now that we have that, we're going to want to work on this side. Now, so the top port is your port A and port B. So port A, so here's how a two-way valve works. When there's no power running through the solenoid, air is constantly going to be going through port A. Now, when we do apply power to the solenoid, air is going to shut off from coming out of here and come out of here instead until power is taken away, and then air is going to shut off from here and come out of here. So we're going to want to put we're going to definitely want to get Teflon, and these come with Teflon on them, but it's really bad, and you should put it back. You should put some more, I mean, because it doesn't really do anything. And tighten those really tight. Get a wrench even. So now that we have these in super tight, we're ready to go and move on to our cylinder. So let's put this to the side and take out our cylinder. So how a cylinder works is inside of here, at the end of this rod inside, there's a little flat plunger. So that plunger can, when air is pushed in through that side, it fills up the air inside of here and pushes the plunger up. When air goes in here, it pushes the plunger back down. So if we put air in here, it makes it go down. So we're going to want to put port A in here because we want when it's on standby, we want the cylinder to be down. Now that might change depending for your project, but that's how I'm going to want it default. You can always just change this by switching the ports around. Really easy. So we're going to want to make sure we Teflon our ports again. And like I said, all the things are in the description below. And then put this one on. Now it's super tight, no air is going to leak. You're ready to start getting your tubing. So, you're going to want to get 2 tubes about 1 foot long, just like this. And make sure when you're cutting them straight, because you don't want them at a point, because they won't go in here very well. So here's how you use these. You push this little part down, and usually when you press them in, they just kind of go in automatically. So you push this down, and then just push in really hard, and see that's in there. And if you want to take it out, you just press this back down and just pull it right out, and it comes right out. So to get it in there, push it down, push in really hard. So now what we're going to do is connect our air supply. So there we go. I'm running, I think, about 60 psi. Okay, so it looks like I actually got these two mixed around. This is something you can play around with, so I'm just going to switch these two out. Now that I switched them around, it should be better now. So once we put air in, so let's go ahead and put air in. See now if we put air in now, we see that this, let me just hook this right here on my vise so it stays. Okay, so now I can't pull this out because there's the air pushing it, air's pushing in and pushing the plunger down. But if we press this little test button right here, you'll see that when we press the test button, and it starts to get really hot. And so if you want to control speed, you can either change the PSI, put it at a really low PSI, or you can change these mufflers and put on these little screw caps that lower the amount of exhaust. I don't have those to show you guys, but you can find them, and I will have speed controllers in the description below. But so that's cool, but it's not controlled by a switch or a battery. So today I'm going to be using just a regular old drill battery. So if you look at a drill battery, we're going to look at this is battery plus and battery negative. So it might be different, but these are for the DeWalt. These are 20 volt batteries, and this solenoid goes from 12 to 24 volts. So 20 volts is perfect. So I've marked the positive, which you're just going to have to figure out. It doesn't really say. You're just going to have to figure out the positive, and it doesn't break it if you do the wrong sides. So you just put one in here. Make sure your fingers are not touching the leads when you put it in here. But just to test it out, we can put the positive. We can put the positive in there, and then the negative can just go right in there, and we'll see our piston will go off. There it goes. And you can wire a switch and use a 12-volt battery. Like here, I have a 12-volt battery. I think it's dead. So let's see if this works. Hold on. Stop. Yeah, this battery's dead. But if you get a charge battery, then you know. So, or you can get a 12-volt adapter. So now, that's pretty cool. But this is not a haunted Halloween prop because this has to be manually controlled. Let's take it a step further. Control it with Arduino. So we have the Arduino setting it off when you walk past it. So that's going to be the cool thing. So for this tutorial, we're going to use a Arduino board, and a relay. So let's go ahead and look at the Arduino build for this process. Okay guys, so let me show you the general rundown of how this works. So we have our two wires coming from our solenoid. One of the wires is going to go to our negative end of the battery. The positive one is going to go into the middle slot of our relay. The other wire from the solenoid, the negative one, is going to go into the right terminal of the relay. Outside of the relay, we're going to put it in the ports that we defined. So that would be like 8 and 1 that we defined in the code. Okay, guys, so for the code, we're going to be defining 2 integers, and I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, but you guys can click the card in the right corner of the screen to just get a little peek of just how to more in-depth control a motion sensor. So if you guys really want to get into the Arduino controlling of a motion sensor, then watch the video in the card up in the right hand corner. So watch that video, get used to coding sensors. But if you already know how to do that, or you think you can follow the code quickly, stay on this video. So we're just going to start by doing so we have the solenoid. So I'm just going to say solenoid. I'm just going to say SOL will stand for solenoid. I think we put it in port 8. So we have it in port 8. Integer. So we're going to change integer. I guess we'll just do SEN for sensor. I think we said we put it in port 1. You know, you can always change these ports. So now we're going to do pin mode because we want to set up the pins. So we're going to put sol, comma, output because it's our output, because we're outputting information. I'm just going to copy this pin mode right here, and we can change SEN to input. Now we're going to be doing something called a read. So we're going to just do val because that's a popular thing to use, and it still is an integer. So integer val digital because it's in a digital pin, not an analog pin. So if it's an analog pin, you would put analog read, but it's in a digital pin, so you do digital read. So we have digital read, and then we want to be reading the sensor. So digital read sen. There we go. Now we're going to do an if. If sen equals. You can say high or 1. Close that. Now we're just going to do, digital solenoid. And let's say we want the solenoid to be high for 1 second. 1000 milliseconds. Boom. Don't forget to add your semicolons. Now we're going to add a else. So if that's not happening, then what happens is we're just going to do this. We can copy this. And if high means on, we just need to do low to be off. And that's the code. Upload that to your board and you are ready to go. So now, guys, all you have to do is turn it on, start your air source open, and see, there we go. So our code told it to run whenever it senses motion for 1.5 milliseconds. So I need to stop the motion. So if we put the motion sensor back where it can't really sense anything, and then start our air going, we can see that. Hold on. See? And you can change this. This sensor is really sensitive, so you can change the sensitivity pretty easily as well. So let's wait until it calms down. Now it's sensing nothing. Then, boom. There you guys go. Boom. So guys, that is the general idea of how this works. It is crazy easy. Now you can buy really expensive prop controllers, or you can learn how to code Arduino really simple and do it yourself for really cheap. If you guys are more interested in learning how to use relays, you guys can click the card up here to get a little peek of how to use a relay. In the project that we do in that video, I just show you how to make a random flickering light with a relay, how to make your house lights flicker with a relay. So watch that video to get more interested or more knowledge about relays. Stay tuned, guys. I'm going to have my first pneumatic prop build. If you want to see that first pneumatic prop build, please click right here. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. This is Chris Honor. If you like this video and try it yourself, please give it a like. And if you like my channels and some of my other videos, if you check them out, please consider subscribing.